2000 era has brought about many new changes: new administration, coaches, players, divisions, classifications, and even changing sides of the field. Still, through all of that, the Bulldogs have continued to excel on the field of battle, making the playoffs in 2001 and 2002. And our hopes are that this tradition is to continue this year, with our Bulldogs having a great shot to return to the playoffs scene.
Ready.
Is it on?
Talking to the mic.
All right, the 1990s, as far as New Albany Bulldog football, was a time of evolution, a time of change, and a time of progress. The Bulldogs went from a 3A team in 1990 to a 4A team in 91 and 92. During the 90s, the team saw 4 different coaches: Rodney Putt, Buddy Hall, Terry Allen, and Steve Denson. It also was a time of growth. When I played in 1989 to 1992, the most players we ever had was about 30. We were playing 4A football with 30 kids on the team. By the time the 90s were over, the numbers were up around 60. I think this was a time where we built a base for the current football team. We played Ironman football. We played both sides of the ball. We never came off the field, and then that's changed a lot, and that's a good thing. Kids are be able to concentrate more on one position. Football had a lot to do with every aspect of my life. It taught me teamwork. It taught me how important friends were. It taught me how to recognize a person I could depend on and one I couldn't. And it had everything to do with me going into coaching. Miss Kirkland, who has passed away, was probably the biggest influence on me coaching, and that's kind of funny to some people because she wasn't a coach, but she always told me, she said, before you got to my class, I thought you were a dumb jock, and I figured out pretty quick you're a smart jock. You need to be around kids, and that was the biggest influence for me. But I never wanted to get away from football. Never been away from football since I was in about the 4th grade. I'm proud to be here at New Albany, and I'm proud to be part of what's been going on for many, many years.
No, it was just records. We didn't have a band. No, it was we were a little low tech back in those days.
Now, the 50s were generally a very happy time.
Oh, I think so.
The
Yeah.
war had ended, the baby boom,
Mm-hmm.
color TV.
True, and we were getting back a lot of veterans from the Korean War, and it was really exciting times. It was the beginning of growth for our area. Gosh, we didn't know what a 40-hour week of work would earn. I mean, you'd be surprised. The minimum wage was something like $1.50 to $2 an hour. So we've come a long way.
Do you ever see the men you play football with, high school football? Do y'all get together?
Occasionally, we just had our 50th anniversary back in August, and got to see, I think it's about 20-something people there. Excuse me. But we've been doing that now for several years, and we're going to have the next one in 5 years because everybody's getting old, except me. And anyway, we get together and stay in touch. The ones that are here are the same ones I just mentioned played football with. Billy Wiseman didn't play, but he's still here. Shan Pittner lives in Memphis. Joe Dillard lives here, and of course Vern Pfeiffer and myself. So although we don't get together a lot, we still talk occasionally, and it's good to have somebody from that era.
You mentioned the spirit. High school football has a certain spirit about it. What do you think gives it that spirit?
Well, I think the coaches primarily, but then the fans are a big part, and of course the attitude of the players is altogether important. So you can have a bad team and still have great spirit, and I really don't think emphasis on winning was quite as big back in those days as it is now. But at the same time, nobody likes to get beat. So from a standpoint of won and loss, mine's not too exciting. But other than that, none of this here existed at that time, and was built and opened, I think, in early '60s. But we had a great time at the old work field, it was called, over at, behind middle school. Well, actually, it's in front of middle school now, where the football field was. So good memories of a good time, and like I say, we didn't have much of a team. We had a great spirit, and played 60 minutes of football. We didn't have enough to substitute, so it was tough times. But then the ones that we trained, I say that lightheartedly, the juniors and sophomores next year went 8-2, and then I'll forget what the record was the year after that, but it was beginning of some good seasons. So it's good to have been a part of it.
I had to call Miss Jan, and she came and picked us up because Coach Hood wouldn't change the tire. And so that's my most embarrassing moment in high school. Okay. Is it ready? Okay. I think the thing I miss the most is all the extra stuff that we.
You know, a 5-4-1 record isn't tops or probably anywhere near it. But the fans of New Albany are proud of it, and proud of a team that came on the field a 30-point underdog against a highly ranked Corinth team and fought them to a standstill, only to be beaten in the last few minutes. It is true some games were lost that should have been won, and considering the fact that at least one regular was out of the lineup the last 6 games, too much is not to be expected. So our hat is off to the Bulldogs and Coach Campbell. Now that coach I'm reading from annual, this 1946 team, our coach was Red Campbell. He was a great college football player. Actually, he played a blocking back and fullback for Mississippi State. Back right before he came here to coach. And the words I've just given you were written by one of my fellow students and put into the Vista, our annual. And it tells you pretty much the backing that we had, because along in the 40s, we didn't win a lot of football games. It was more 3-8 or 4-4-3 or something like that. But we always had very, very good support from the local citizens in New Albany. We were proud of our football team. I didn't play much myself, but we had some guys that were very, very good players. Edward Pittner was one of the co-captains. He was a center, and Foots, James, his real name, we call him Foots, big feet. Wilson was co-captain, and he was one of our tackles. And tailback, we had a great young man running and throwing the football. We ran the single wing, the old Tennessee system. Tailback was Kenneth Coochie Gilbert. We were all very, very close back in those. And the guys, we had Jiggs Robbins and Billy Harwell and Bo Moffitt and Edwin Gale Gregory and Morris Lee Busby and Dawson Curtis and Leonard Harrington and William Alvis Parks, and it goes on and on. Good people, good friends. We had fun. We had a great coach. We had a great school. And when we think of it now, we still enjoy our football.
Who won and all that stuff. So we usually just watch TV downstairs and play ping pong. And we have a lot of fun doing that. One of my favorite things about this